Hello, and welcome to another episode of your favourite football podcast and mine, Tinker Talk. I'm Josh Andrews, and as ever, I'm joined by the left foot of Podolski to my right foot of Podolski, Matthew David. Hello.
Hello.
Before we start, our thoughts go out to everyone affected by the attacks in Westminster today. I think I'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
That being said, Matthew, England squad, what did you make of it?
I think there were some positives about it, and I think there were also equally some things I'm not so keen on personally. I liked that Southgate's kind of brought up players that he trusted with the under-21s like Ward-Prowse and Redmond. I don't particularly understand Liverpool being in there. Defoe, again, makes sense. Vardy, I don't quite understand either based on form, but I think we'll discuss why people are picked and why we think they should be picked later.
Sure.
No, but I think for the most part it was a pretty decent squad selection. It was almost as good as he could have done. What do you think?
I was a bit surprised by one particular omission, that being Theo Walcott.
Of course.
The thing that surprises me most about it is it's not so much that he hasn't been picked, it's that Chamberlain was picked and he wasn't, considering that Walcott's probably been in a better vein of form in the last few weeks especially than Chamberlain.
Yeah, I think even more importantly, Walcott's been scoring goals. I think he's, apart from Defoe, I think he's scored more goals than Vardy and Rashford this season. So it doesn't really make sense his exclusion to me anyway.
Yeah, I'm not totally certain about this, but I wouldn't be too off by saying that he's probably had less appearances, certainly less minutes.
Than Vardy, yeah, but I think the Rashford, I reckon he's probably had more.
Fair, but Rashford's a young starlet anyway, so you'd want someone like Rashford to be picked for the England squad.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially he's an exciting player as well. Burst onto the scene and give you some pace and it kind of adrenaline and pick up your team. If things aren't going well, he's the kind of player who'll grab you by the neck and be like, "Come on!"
Yeah, I'd say
he did that at the Euros, didn't he?
Yeah, I'd say Lingard's also in that same sort of vein. It's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing about Lingard as well that I quite like is he's someone who'll be really good on the ball. Or actually, no, to be fair, he's really good on the ball, but I think he's better off the ball, and I think that's something that's kind of good about him as well. Like he's kind of like Lallana in that regard.
Yeah, generally just sort of knows where to be at, when trying to press and defend, and also in terms of getting into good positions where he can attack. He is generally very good at getting himself in great positions. No doubt about that.
Plus, we have an advantage whenever we play at Wembley.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
he loves a goal at Wembley, doesn't he?
He does love a goal at Wembley.
I'm trying to think. Michael Keane was an inclusion that needed to happen at some point, so I'm happy that happened this time around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one from the under-21s.
Deserved as well, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I think the good thing about Southgate being appointed is in a similar way to what Germany did, kind of with Lowe and I think Klinsmann before that.
Yeah.
They've got people who will, they've had under-21 experience, and they've got the staff who will then bring the players through into the senior team. So it's a progression rather than in what many ways over the time with England has sort of been, oh, you're doing well, you can just skip that bit. I mean,
so
I know
a mini
Rashford's
shot at Vardy there as well.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so I think if England are looking at going in that direction, then it's going to be good because Ward-Prowse, Redmond, Keane, Dyer, they've all played together at that level, at the younger level, and done really well together as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So yeah, hopefully that'll bode well for England's future.
Sure. Obviously there were quite a few people left out due to injury. Are there any particular names that you'd like to see feature more prominently when they return?
Harry Kane, Jordan Henderson, Jack Butland, and Danny Rose. I almost sounded prepared for that answer.
Almost.
Yeah. I think those four are the best players who were missing, unless I'm missing someone obvious,
Uh,
which I don't think I am.
Daniel Sturridge, I think, is also probably somebody that you'd want to see.
You say that. I don't know if Harry Kane's better than him. I don't think there's any question about that.
I'm not doubting Harry Kane, but I'd certainly
Okay.
rather have Sturridge than both Defoe and Vardy. Not to make, not to say that they aren't good in their own right, but Sturridge obviously being younger.
I'd agree with that to an extent. I think Welbeck, when he's fit, I'd rather have. I think my front four, if I was going to pick from a fully fit bunch of England attackers, the ones I'd pick would probably be Kane, Welbeck, Walcott, and Rashford, unless I'm missing someone again.
Let's assume, for argument's sake, that you're not.
Yes.
Otherwise, we could be thinking for a very long time.
That is possible.
Yeah.
Andy Carroll was one we were talking about earlier, but if England are going to play on the front foot, I don't think he's exactly the kind of player that would be helpful.
Well, unless he scores bicycle kicks every single week like he did earlier on in the season, I wouldn't exactly call him an exciting player to watch.
He'll get pulled up for a high boot every game.
Yeah, and then he'll get injured.
Yeah. Thus is the life of Carroll.
Yeah.
What did you think of the game against Germany?
I thought England were very good. You speaking about Lingard being very good off the ball, I thought England were very good off the ball for 90 minutes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, England definitely on the front foot. Probably, definitely should have won based on the chances that were had.
Ali's chance should absolutely have hit the back of the net.
Yeah, there was Lallana's as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the post. Who else had a good chance? Someone forced a save from ter Stegen at some point as well. There was a fairly good chance.
Someone. Expert analysis there.
Yeah, I mean, cutting edge reporting.
Yeah.
Don't
bother with Match of the Day, guys.
Just come here, it's fine. Yeah. We don't always put ourselves down.
No, not at all.
No. Podolski's long shot. Boom.
I mean, what more needs to be said? That's one hell of a way to cap off your international career. Off your international career. Sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry.
His 130th cap and his final cap. He was captain. I did it too.
What has this become?
Well, I was hoping I could make a pun out of Tinker Talk, but I don't think I can. Please don't try.
No, I won't.
But yeah, he was wonderful.
Yeah, it was captivating.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this 8-minute podcast. The puns will slow down, I promise. I think that one capped it off.
All right, that's it.
Yeah,
no more.
I killed it. That's good.
No more.
No more. Back on track. Yeah, Podolski, obviously, a legend for Germany, and he's going to Japan at the end of the season. So, if we do another repeat of talking about players who've gone to places to try and boost that country's profile, then maybe he'll be one of them next time.
Maybe. Let's hope so.
Yeah. What did you think of Germany's youngsters?
Ooh. I like them. It wasn't necessarily the best performance by all of them. Well, I mean, Sane was exciting, but I mean, it wasn't necessarily like a great performance by any of them. But having seen a lot of them actually play for their club, I like them regardless.
Yes, it's nice seeing kind of Kimmich, Weigl, Sane, Werner, Brandt all in the same team.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an experimental Germany 11.
Yeah, and they still won, to be honest, without really getting out of first gear.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know about. Do you think that'll be of concern to Southgate that England could put in a really good performance and still come away without a goal and a loss?
Well, I mean, that's been England all over for how many years now?
Since I've been watching them, definitely.
Yeah. I don't think a loss against Germany will concern Southgate as much as a loss against a much smaller team that may potentially happen in the future.
Yeah, we'll see what happens against Lithuania on Sunday.
Yeah.
That would be embarrassing.
It would. But
Yeah.
I think if England put in performances like that against Lithuania with a bit more cutting edge going forward, then they'll be fine.
Yeah. One thing we haven't touched on, which I'm kind of surprised by,
Right.
formation change.
Yeah.
3-4-3.
We were talking before the game about the starting 11s that we might pick. And
This is brilliant.
we said to each other, let's be realistic with the formation that will probably be picked. And you were sort of adamant that it would be a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
And I was more just adamant that it would be a 4-back. And then we were wrong.
Yeah, it's a little bit irritating because before you said be realistic,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you asked me what team I'd pick. I was thinking, okay, well, I like the idea of, Stones, Smalling, and Cahill at the back, and then it was like, be realistic. I was like, yeah, England aren't going to play a 3-back. That's not happening. And then England played a 3-back.
Yeah. And by and large, I think it was a good call.
I mean, I can't remember Germany having a when I say a chance, I know they scored, but I can't remember them having an actual chance.
No, I don't think there was a single clear-cut chance for Germany.
Oh, actually, save that Sane effort where Hart made a really, really good save. Down to his bottom left. But yeah, England were in control of the game, and then Goldie Poldy hallelujah.
Fine.
That's good chant.
Yeah. Shame the Germans aren't going to be singing it for their international games anymore.
No, no, they're not. It'd be good if England had a player like Podolski though, who's capable of playing 130 games for us, and keep at a fairly consistent level.
Yeah. As opposed to just, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. Do you see any players coming through at the moment that you think might be able to replicate Podolski's achievements with Germany, except for, England?
I think that depends a lot on how certain players develop. I could see it happening for Sterling if he stays relatively injury-free. And if he, keeps performing for City. I think he's probably the number one player I'd get. Kane as well, I suppose, but
I find it interesting you went with Sterling, considering one of his primary assets is kind of his pace, and do you think he has enough about him without pace to have that prolonged international career?
I think so on the basis that he's one of those players where England are, and not to sound like I'm discrediting Sterling, but he's the kind of player that England don't have.
Okay.
He's very quick, he can get in behind, he's pretty good on the ball. And England just don't have that many wingers like that.
England don't really have any wingers.
Yeah. Well, we said that before. Sterling, Townsend, who else is there?
Yeah, we had Sahath a little bit, but then we didn't want him. Now Ivory Coast have him.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not really anyone to shout about. Chamberlain is or has been a winger, but whether or not he'll continue being that way.
Walcott as well.
Yeah, but again, he's another one.
Mm-hmm. And 130 games, I think, will be, well, depending on which way you want to look at it, lucky for him to do that.
Yeah, he'd have to be fairly fortunate.
He'd have to get selected.
Yeah, that would help. I think, I'm not sure how many Joe Hart's on now. I think he's on about 70. Not quite as exciting of a player as Podolski.
No.
But I think he's one who could kind of get his caps up a bit if he keeps being trusted by the managers. That was not a shot. Just to clarify.
I'm sure he'd say that anyway. Sorry.
What is this?
This is too many puns.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
What would your England starting lineup look like if everyone was fit?
Doing a fantasy 11 now. Great.
Sure.
Um,
Put you on the spot.
Sure. I'd stick Butland in now.
Mhm.
On the basis that I think long term he's the keeper that England should be going with. I think Joe Hart's lack of consistent form has kind of shown over the last few years now, and Butland for Stoke has just been very, very good.
I agree.
So I think that's that. Walker and Danny Rose for me are definitely the fullbacks of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I've said off podcast before that he really irritates me, Stones and Chris Smalling are probably the two centre-backs I go with. Although I did like the look of King for the game against Germany.
Uh-huh.
So that's the back four. Dyer ahead of them. Barkley and Lallana in the centre.
Okay.
Sterling out right. Rashford out left. Kane up front.
Gone for a very De Bruyne Silva-esque partnership in the middle there.
Well, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not. Sorry.
But
Wow.
copyright's rude.
No, whatever.
We do not own the rights to that song. We were merely quoting it for a review. It's a good song. There we go. Done.
Great.
Got out of that one.
Great.
Would that be like a 4-1-4-1, 4-3-3?
It could be a lot of things. If I'm honest, you could play either. You could probably play Barkley a little bit deeper. You could be a 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
You could stick Dyer in the center of defense and play a 3 or 5 back. Do a number of things with it.
Yeah. I think I would disagree with some of that lineup.
Right.
I think I would have Butland, Walker, Stones, Smalling, Rose. It sounds like I'm disagreeing with a lot. Dyer. Yeah. Sterling.
Come on.
Then I'd probably
Where have I gone wrong?
Then I'd probably have Henderson and Lallana.
Right.
And then maybe Ali out left, and then Kane through the middle. Because I think that Ali, in his time at Tottenham, has kind of proven how effective he is on the front foot, pressing, closing down, and he scores quite a few goals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Henderson has more discipline than Barkley, so if you wanted to go to a 3-back or a 5-back and put Dyer back between the two centre-backs, spread them out, Henderson and Lallana, I feel like, would have the work rate and the ethic to make up for the kind of... You'd probably be outnumbered in the middle, but if you've got the players that work hard enough, it doesn't matter with a 3-4-3.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I go with Henderson over Barkley. As for Kane, speaks for himself. I don't know why I mentioned Kane, because you had Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Rashford, I think, is not quite the finished product yet, which is why he wouldn't be in mine straight away anyway.
I get that. I think he's... Not to say that he's more exciting than Ali, because that's very unfair to Ali.
Yeah, I've never seen Rashford do a scoop turn.
No. But especially in games where England and Man United aren't on the front foot, I find he's always a really, really bright spark. Always wants to go forward. And he's just the kind of player that I think fans can get behind, even when the team aren't performing particularly well.
It's funny, because I agree in some ways, but I also disagree in that that's when he's at his best. I think you said that, right? Or something along those lines.
It's when his performances, I think, are most notable. Not necessarily when he's at his best.
I think Rashford is when he's introduced when you're against a team that's being difficult to break down.
Mm-hmm.
is when he impresses me the most. So if you think back to Iceland,
Can we not? No, go on.
England would drab until Rashford came on, and then he really kind of grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and almost dragged us back into it.
Right.
I think that's probably when that's when he's at his most impressive.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think Southgate, he's making a good impression. And I only brought that up so I could transition to his former team, Middlesbrough.
Ooh, yeah.
Who sacked Aitor Karanka.
They did.
What are your thoughts?
Middlesbrough are currently 19th in the table with a very, very poor scoring record.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that much more needs to be said to justify sacking the manager at this point in the season.
See, it's funny because again, and this makes for a great podcast, I disagree with you.
Oh, great. Talk to me.
I think, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I agree with Mourinho's comments regarding the whole situation. I don't know if you saw them.
Enlighten me.
Before the game against Middlesbrough, he was asked whether he thought Karanka had been fairly sacked or if it was deserved. And he said, of course he deserves to be sacked. He came here, first season, Middlesbrough looked like they were going down, he saved them. Second season, he got them to the playoff final when they lost. Third season, he got automatic promotion. So, of course, in the fourth season, he deserves to be sacked.
Little hint of flippancy there.
Just a tad. I mean, they are good friends, obviously.
Yeah.
From their time at Madrid. I actually agree with Mourinho. I think Karanka's done a wonderful job at Middlesbrough. I think with the squad he has, it's not one of the best ones in the league. I think he's done very, very well to make them a solid unit defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And if they got relegated again, and they went to the Championship and had the money from this Premier League season to spend to enforce their attack, make their attack better, make them look more of a threat going forward, as well as the defence he currently has, I think he'd bring them back up, no question. And I reckon they could stay in the Premier League next time around. It's a bit like when Burnley went down with Sean Dyche. They stuck with him and now they're back and they're better. I think that's a situation that Middlesbrough could have had and have thrown away.
I would disagree in the sense where I think the difference between Burnley and Middlesbrough is that Burnley, whilst they didn't score much, never looked as though they wouldn't score in a lot of their games. Middlesbrough are an incredibly good unit defensively, but going forward, they're almost like a nothing team, I find, when I'm watching them. And I never really felt that way about Burnley.
I think with regards to Middlesbrough,
They've
got Adama Traore, who is a very exciting player, but speaking about finished articles, he's not anywhere near that. He's not really got a final product.
No.
Or an end product is the word.
Mm-hmm.
But he is an exciting talent. There's a reason why Chelsea are interested in him.
Right.
Negredo looked like a decent signing at the beginning of the season. Hasn't really worked out for them.
Yeah.
Rudy Gestede, I don't understand personally.
Mm-hmm.
So in the kind of final third, maybe they haven't quite gotten it right in terms of the personnel in there. I don't think they gave Jordan Rhodes a fair shot.
I'd agree with that.
But if you look at them in kind of the further back areas of the pitch, I think Valdez is a good goalkeeper. I think Gibson's a good centre back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm a big fan of Martin Derone.
Sure.
I just think it's maybe, I don't know if it's maybe that they don't spend enough time working on the final kind of part of their game plan or what, but I think if they had that something, I think Ramirez missed quite a bit of the season, if I'm correct, and he had a falling out with Karanka.
Right.
I think they've missed him. But I suppose it depends on what you want, because no one's going to keep them up now, I don't think. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not.
I understand that view, and I'm honestly not sure whether I agree with it or not, but I do think it's easier to give a team more freedom than it is to fix them defensively. And where defense is definitely the problem for the team surrounding them, it's definitely not the problem for Middlesbrough. So long as they get a bit more, I guess, freedom in their attack, I would think that they could probably be okay if there's a manager out there who's going to give it to them.
I mean, it looks like they're going to stick with Agnew, who's the assistant manager.
Mm-hmm.
It's working for Leicester, I guess.
It's not quite the same situation, let's be honest.
No, that is true. They don't have anyone who won the league last season.
No.
I probably got that completely wrong. Watch, I'll find out they've signed someone from Leicester later that I've forgotten about. That'd be typical, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think Middlesbrough will go down, and I think they'll struggle to get a manager who I personally think is as good as Karanka. I think you put Karanka in a mid-table team, he'll do a very, very good job there.
I don't think that's unfair. I think too much emphasis was placed on getting a good defence, and when you're not scoring, that's a problem.
That's probably fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I think don't really have much more to say on that matter.
No, but speaking of managers who are under pressure, it's not really true. Karanka's already gone.
That was a perfectly smooth transition.
Yeah, well, we're running with it. 2 banners flying over the Hawthorns the weekend.
Yeah, Wenger's future's up in the air.
No. No.
Yes. Well, you didn't like that one? I've been sitting on that one all week.
Sure.
Anyway, of course, one banner saying that Wenger's time to go, one saying in Wenger we trust.
Stuff we've all heard before.
Yeah, it's not exactly like they're coming up with new slogans.
No, but just new methods, I guess, of voicing their opinion.
I mean, that's not even true. There's been planes before, or a plane before, I believe. I can't remember what game it was.
Over the Emirates, yeah.
Was it over the Emirates?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's cheaper in the Midlands. What's your... I mean, we talked about it before, but what do you think about the whole hiring a plane to take your banner over a stadium during a match?
I mean, I think it's silly, but, to say it's wrong is probably just a little bit, I don't know.
Wrong? I don't...
I don't know. Is it wrong to voice your... I mean, it doesn't really matter how you do it. The message is, Wenger, please leave, in a slightly more aggressive way about it in some cases, but at the end of the day, you're just voicing the displeasure of the manager.
But at the same time, there was people doing the exact opposite.
True. I think, I'm sure there's like a number of people who would say that that's really admirable from the supporters of Arsene Wenger, because again he's a club legend for Arsenal. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
To show that kind of support in, let's be honest, a borderline crisis season for Arsenal.
Yeah.
That in and of itself, I think, is quite admirable. That being said, it's probably not going to change anything at this point.
No, especially considering he's now made his decision. And you'd imagine that would have been done before the West Brom game.
Yeah.
Do you think it's right that he's the one deciding his own future?
I think when you've done so much for a club, I think it's more right for him than it would be for anybody else, barring someone like Ferguson back
Sure.
in the day. I mean, who else realistically at this point is going to decide his future? I don't know.
Do you mean who's going to decide Wenger's future?
I mean, the obvious answer is the chairman and the owners. But, I mean, from a sheer business standpoint, Wenger's about the best manager they could ever get, really.
Oh, you mean in terms of financially for them in their pockets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, and, there's the argument of whether that's right or wrong, and football purists are always going to say that that's wrong, and fair enough, but they're not going to make that decision. So, whether that's right or wrong, that's the way that it is. I think Wenger just needs to do what's right by the fans now.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of whether he believes that's in or out, I do think that his decision should be based on fan support more than anything else now.
I have heard, I don't know how accurate it is, that within Arsenal they believed it is a fairly even split among the fans between wanting him to stay and wanting him to go.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, do you think that he should be thinking, okay, I should go because half the people want me to, or I should stay because half the people want me to? Or do you think the fans' opinion will enter his mind?
Right, well, that's two separate questions. I'll answer the first question. I think it should be, this is dividing our own fan base. That's not good for this club. I should leave. If that's any sort of, I mean, obviously there's more to it than that, but obviously the fan base is divided because half of them don't think that the club are achieving well as they should be, which I don't think is unfair. But do I think it enters his mind? I mean, pure speculation. I think probably not. I think Wenger's more concerned with winning games and potentially winning things like the FA Cup this year, Champions League qualification. I think they're all more important to Arsene Wenger than the fans. I don't want to sound too cynical, but it's just the way I think it is.
Just clarify what I meant by that question. I mean, do you think when he's deciding or decided what he's going to do about signing a new deal or not, there's a lot of reports he's going to sign a new 1-year deal. There's a lot of reports he's leaving. Mm-hmm. But do you think when he's making or when he's made his decision, the fans' opinions will have come into his thought process or will come into his thought process?
I mean, I suspect they'll have come into his thought process, but I don't think they're a major factor.
Okay.
As opposed to how he thinks the club can progress with him. And how much he thinks he has left. I mean, you'd assume he thinks he has quite a lot left. I don't think he'd be saying the things that he has said over the last number of years. He didn't. But that being said, how much does he have left for Arsenal? How much more can he do with Arsenal? I think that's the question realistically that he's probably asking himself.
Yeah, I'd agree. There is the argument, and it's one that I understand. It would annoy me a bit, but I would understand it, that if he signs a new 1-year deal, that gives Arsenal plenty of time to plan a succession, which Man United, for example, didn't have, and they got it horribly wrong.
Sure.
Do you think Arsenal have the right people to say, this is what we're going to do, and to get it right?
At the moment, probably not. But with Wenger having been in his last year of the contract for a while now, I think it's probably quite dumb that they haven't.
I think they definitely should have been sounding out kind of successors over the course of this year. Like, would you be interested kind of getting a idea of who would like to manage Arsenal?
Yeah. I mean, especially with the Wenger in, Wenger out conversation being had for so long now. Definitely. I mean, the simple fact that, the board, Wenger himself, have had so many questions over the last number of years, you'd think that they should have had a plan in place, whether they do or they don't. Because in reality, they might. We just don't know.
That's true.
I just hope for the sake of Arsenal Football Club that they make the right decision, whatever that decision happens to be.
This is a pretty difficult question to answer, but do you think there's any likelihood of them going the kind of way of, for example, Liverpool have done in terms of competing in the Premier League and just dropping off completely?
Well, I mean, in fairness, Liverpool came back without dropping off too far. But I'm assuming that your question was more based on just dropping out the top four and generally just fighting in the sort of 5th, 6th, and 7th area for a few years.
Yeah, the kind of thing that happened to Liverpool for not an overly long period, but a while, and the kind of thing that happened to Man United, or has happened to Man United for a little while.
Possibly, but I think that that's also down to the sheer level of competition that there is now for the higher places in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back when Liverpool were falling out of the top four, there were less teams. You know, Tottenham weren't really in the equation at the time. City were only just coming into the equation. So, you know, it wasn't as much competition as you do now when you've got these teams all competing for top four, and you've actually got teams underneath, like, you know, Everton, Southampton, West Brom this season, albeit that probably is just a one-season thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more congested area of the table now, and I could see Arsenal being there if the right decisions aren't made. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you think he'll go at the end of the season? I think he'll probably stay for another year.
Yeah, I don't think Wenger would say something like he's made his decision and will announce it very soon if he was staying. Because, you know, in the past he's just signed the new contract and that's been that.
I mean, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was going to leave, then why would he not go about it the way that Enrique has, for example? Because Enrique saw a quick upturn in results when he announced he was leaving. Why would Wenger delay that much, having seen that? Why do you think, anyway? Obviously, him.
You can't guarantee a big upturn in results after stating that you're going to leave at the end of the season. It didn't happen for Pellegrini, to be fair.
That is true.
You know, that kind of thing can go either way.
I think the difference there, though, is that wasn't someone who's been majorly successful at the club taking the front step and announcing that they're leaving. When Pellegrini announced he was leaving, that was because the big news was coming moments later that
the
Guardiola would be taking over. Mm-hmm. So the upturn in results maybe isn't as... You know, there's Wenger showed a lot of loyalty in some of the Arsenal players. So the idea, or at least what I would think, would be that he announces he's leaving, they show back some of that faith and loyalty, and give him a respectable finish to his time at Arsenal.
Fair. But I mean, I don't think personally that it takes I don't think it takes him leaving for the players to do that. I do just think the players are just flat out underperforming for whatever reason.
I do agree with that as well.
I don't think it would be right for a huge upswing in results to be down to that, personally.
No, I agree again. I just think maybe that as a bit of motivation might be a bit helpful to Arsenal's situation. In the last few minutes anyway, we've talked about Man City and Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess where I'm going with that?
You're going to talk about their 1-1 draw?
They played? No, I'm joking. Yes, I'm going to talk about their 1-1 draw. What do you think of the game?
It had a lot of interesting moments. I seem to remember when we spoke about the game afterwards that you thought it was an incredibly good game.
Yeah, I thought it was really entertaining. Lots of chances. Could have finished with any scoreline.
Yeah. I remember when watching the game, I was very impressed with Sane, as I have been a lot over the last number of weeks.
Yeah, I think Sane's alright.
Yeah, and you have too. But I've also been, and this is linking back to something I said earlier, I've been very aggravated by Stones, and even more so by Aguero.
Okay.
I'll talk about Stones first, because I think my issue with Stones is that it seems as though he dwells on the ball before making passes far too often. And when you're a team like City, who are very quick, very high tempo, and despite being very sort of short passing for the most part, they are very direct. And I don't think dwelling on the ball helps with that.
Okay.
We
discussed this. I think he can at times take too long, but he also recently has become more of an organizer for the kind of movement and positioning that City players take up before he passes.
Mm-hmm.
And the players do seem to trust him as well.
Yeah.
To find them. And I think that's invaluable for a team like, Guardiola team.
I would agree. And again, I've not said that I think Stones has been particularly bad. He's just been aggravating to watch. Because a number of times in that particular game, he'd dribble forward to the halfway line, or there or thereabouts, and then pass it sideways to, I think it was Sanya, when the pass to Sanya could have just been made 4 touches earlier, and that just be that. And it looks indecisive from my perspective. And sure, it might be a case of, okay, he's, trying to organise the players and where to go, but you don't necessarily see that. What you see is somebody stepping forward 4 touches and then passing it back to Sanya. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah. But if him going forward those touches pushes Liverpool back a bit, then there's benefit there.
That's fair. But, and again, I remember this happening like in the 85th minute, for example, when City could just do it going forward as quickly as possible. Like I say, it's infuriating to see when such an attacking team slows down as much as it appears that they do when Stones is on the ball sometimes.
I understand. I don't completely agree.
That's fair.
That's fine. What about Aguero?
Oh my god, he just...
Well, that sums that up.
If Aguero finished off half the clear-cut chances that he gets, City would still be within strong contention for the title.
Would anyone else get into as many clear-cut chances as he does?
At the beginning of the season, and maybe up until this, Sterling and Sane on the wing partnership. I don't know if you call that a partnership, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to those two being the sort of wingers in the front three, I probably would have said no. But Sterling and Sane especially, is creating so much that
that's true.
It could be Aguero, it could be Jesus. I know he's injured at the moment. It could be Iheanacho. I think anyone in that role now would be getting a considerable number of chances, and Aguero's just not putting anywhere near enough of them away.
I understand that to an extent. I do think Aguero recently has been working a lot harder. And I actually think his performance has improved as this season's gone on. So, again, it's another one I understand where you're coming from, but I don't share the same opinion with you.
That's fair, but I think and not to say that he hasn't been working harder, I do agree on that front, but his job primarily will be to score goals. And whilst I'm not saying, he's not scoring, he's not scoring enough for the chances he gets. And whether you're working harder or not, that shouldn't go That shouldn't go from your game just because you're working harder.
I mean, I don't in the Liverpool game particularly. I think he did miss one really good chance, but the rest, I think Liverpool defended quite well for the most part and made it difficult for him. And he did score as well. He did score one of his
He did
chances.
score. He did score. But
so I think maybe it's a bit harsh.
Sure.
I mean, obviously he's a fantastic striker. Am I gonna say the sentence? Yeah, I think he's probably with little doubt the best striker in the Premier League.
Ooh.
Sorry, Ibrahimovic fans.
Yeah.
I
think the argument could be made for Kane as well. But
yeah, I mean, I think Aguero is a better player, if nothing else.
I would agree he's a better player. But you know, when Aguero has been known to be one of the most clinical strikers in the league, and I think his goals per 90 minutes ratio is up there with the best.
Yeah, it's one of the best. Yeah.
It's infuriating to see, and I'm not just talking about the Liverpool game because there have been other games in which I've seen Aguero this season, where there have been a number of chances that he hasn't scored, and it's just like, well, if your goals per game ratio is as high as it is, then why isn't it even higher?
I get that. I mean, I think Aguero's. I think it's a slightly difficult one for me to criticize anyway. Personally, I think he's just a wonderful player. So I think finding him. What was the word you used earlier?
Frustrating.
Aggravating.
Something like that. Annoying.
Yeah, I don't see eye to eye. I get where you're coming from, but I just don't agree completely. I did have a question for you regarding City Liverpool.
Right.
Which is, who do you think's looking in better shape ahead of next season? Because neither of them are gonna win the league this season. It's gone. But who do you think's in better shape?
I agree. City.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say because they are and be flippant about it, but they are.
Can you elaborate on why at all?
Silva, De Bruyne, Aguero, Sterling, Sane.
That's as good an answer as I need.
Yeah. I am.
They're gonna go big again in the summer as well.
Yeah, you would think so. City have things that they need to improve on, absolutely, but that front five, as a unit, is the best front five in the league by a considerable margin, I think. It's terrifying.
I agree. As just an attacking threat purely, it is very scary.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps up Man City Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Which means it's time for our favourite part of the show.
The show. All right, cool.
Listen, we've got to make it sound authentic.
Yeah. All right, cool, sweet.
And you can go first this time.
Oh, brilliant. Well, my question relates back to our discussion about Middlesbrough earlier.
Okay.
Middlesbrough being in 19th, looking like they're going to go down, yet having one of the best defensive records in the league. As it
I
stands.
already know this question is going to hurt. Continue.
Which team, in the season in which they got relegated, conceded the least goals ever in the Premier League?
So I'm looking for the best team defensively that's ever gone down.
Yeah.
Ay. Oh, that's a nasty one. Burnley? When they got relegated a couple of seasons back?
No.
Oh. That was a long pause. I was like, I was thinking you were there like, how did he get that so quickly?
I'm going to quickly just get the number of goals that they went down on up now. But the answer is Blackburn in 2005 to 2006. They went down on 50 goals conceded.
Oh, Middlesbrough are going to beat that then, aren't they? The way they're going, probably.
You would think so. You would definitely think so.
Okay. I actually have 2 questions for you.
Right.
One of which I had planned earlier, and that's fine. The other one you actually gave me the idea for a moment ago.
Okay.
So I'll start with the one that you gave me the idea for a moment ago.
Right.
When you mentioned about Aguero having the best goals per minute.
Mm-hmm.
Which he does. Thierry Henry being second.
Mm-hmm.
Which current League One, meaning English League One, striker is third on the goals per minute in Premier League history?
Currently in League One.
Yes.
But they're third in... Do Bolton play in League One?
They do.
No.
What are you thinking?
I just don't want to sound like a fool in case he's not there anymore.
Who are you thinking of?
Not Heskey.
It's not Heskey.
Is it Good Johnson?
It's not Good Johnson either.
Ah.
When you mentioned Bolton, I did actually get a bit concerned for a moment because he currently plays for Bolton on loan.
Oh.
Adam Lafondra.
Oh.
Is third. Only played 1 season with Reading in the Premier League, but he's third on the goals per minute.
That's quite funny.
The original question I came up with,
right?
was,
so I can still win this.
I mean, no, because I'm stubborn. But
oh come on, this is at least half a point. You didn't even get one.
All right. Which club has had the most English internationals playing for them? As in, they've been called up while playing for this club. Ever.
So ever in total?
Yes. Just to clarify, I don't mean when they're called up for the first time. I just mean that they've been called up while at this club.
I'm
afraid that's not a club.
Manchester United.
Well, I'm a bit disappointed because that is wrong.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Can I have one more guess?
You can, but it won't count for anything.
Not that it will count for anything. Because it was the first club I thought of when you initially asked the question, and then I asked for clarification on what the question was.
I'm listening.
West Ham United.
Oh, you shouldn't have gone with them either.
Ah, okay. Cool.
I tried to make it sound like you should have gone with them to begin with.
Yeah, no.
It is, however, a London team. Do you want to have a guess from that information?
Well, I mean, if I'm honest, I would have, like my next 3 guesses would have been between Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea.
Which one are you going for?
Not Chelsea, because no.
Okay.
I'm Arsenal.
Oh dear.
Oh god, was it Tottenham?
It was Tottenham.
Oh.
Yeah, Tottenham have had the most players called up to the England squad while they played for Tottenham.
Right.
Now, I mean, technically, since you got 2 wrong and I only got 1 wrong, that means I win this week. No.
You lost the least.
Which means I win.
No.
I am victorious. I have been Matthew David. This has been Josh Andrews.
Your logic is bad.
Wonderful. You're right. It's wonderful. I hope
Yeah.
you've enjoyed listening to Tinker Talk this week. I've been Matthew David. This has been Josh Andrews.
You've said this already.
I've been Matthew David. This has been Josh Andrews. He's going to let me finish this time.
Nope.
Sore loser. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed listening. Be sure to like the video if you've enjoyed it. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you think. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Listen to us on SoundCloud. And just enjoy our loveliness. And we shall see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.